Our story begins in the small coastal town of Bluffton, South Carolina. Just before 1 a.m. on October 28, 2015, 2 calls came into Bluffton County 911.
911, where's your emergency?
This is 39 Pinecrest Way.
You said 39 Pinecrest Way?
Yes, ma'am.
What's going on there?
I don't know. There's been a shooting. I'm not outside.
What's going on? I can't understand you. What's going on there?
There has been a shooting.
Who's shooting?
I said someone's been shot.
The male?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, where has he been shot at?
Okay. Is the suspect still?
Hello?
I don't know where he's been shot.
Okay, I do have someone en route, okay? Are the suspects there?
911, where's your emergency?
My friend's been shot and killed.
Hello?
Hi, my friend's been shot and killed.
I can't hear you, sir. Could you say that again?
My friend's been shot and killed.
Okay, what's the address?
It's Pinecrest, 39.
39 Pinecrest, and it just happened?
Yes.
Okay, and he's there now?
Me and his roommate.
Okay, and you said he was shot?
Yeah, we're sitting outside and got shot in front of me.
Okay, and that was 39 Pinecrest, correct?
Yes.
And is he bleeding?
He got shot in the head. He's dead.
Okay. I'm getting him en route to you, okay?
Yeah.
Is the suspect still there?
I don't know. We were outside and someone shot. We didn't hear anybody. Or we didn't see anybody.
Okay. Where's your friend at now?
He's sitting outside. I ran inside.
Okay. Okay, sorry. So you said you was outside. You didn't see any suspects or anything?
No, we're sitting out back.
Okay. Did you see any vehicles or anything that come around?
No, they came from outside off the driving range.
Okay. Law enforcement is en route to you, okay? And it was just you there at the residence?
No, his roommate was home in bed.
So how much total are there at the residence?
3.
Okay. And no one saw anyone?
No, we're sitting out there and it was dark out back because the driving range is out back.
Okay.
We heard a gun talk and then 2 shots were fired. John, you all right? He's making sound.
Okay, so you say he's making sounds now? Hello, sir? Hello?
Yeah, the cops are here.
Okay. You can go ahead and speak with them, okay, sir?
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Responding to the calls, police arrive at a home in the upscale community of Pinecrest. Officers make their way toward the front door with their weapons drawn. As they approach, 2 men exit. The men inform the officers that they were the ones who called 911. The officers search them for weapons, ultimately finding none. The 2 men were told to wait in the front yard as the officers continued into the residence. After clearing the house, the officers make their way to the back patio, which is where they find a male slumped over with his head resting on his shoulder. The victim's phone was still in his hand and a large amount of blood had pooled onto his lap. The officers continued clearing the backyard along with the sides of the residence. After clearing the entire property, the officers informed paramedics that the scene was secure. The paramedics made their way to the back patio and declared the man deceased as he was beyond any life-saving measures. After the man was declared dead, the officers called for detectives and the county coroner. The residence, 39 Pinecrest Way, is located north of the Pinecrest Community Golf Course, specifically the driving range. The home is in close proximity to other neighboring homes. Investigators arrive at the scene and make their way to the backyard. Under closer inspection of the victim, there was an obvious gunshot wound to the right side of his head. Blood spatter was found against the wall of the house and on one of the witnesses who claimed to be outside when the victim was shot. The entrance wound was consistent with the shooter being in the backyard. As they searched in the direction where they believe the shots came from, they located 2 shotgun shells in the grass. This indicated the position of the shooter when the shots were fired. Detectives positioned themselves where the shell casings were discovered and looked in the direction of the victim. This vantage point matched up with the small holes that impacted the side of the adjacent home behind the victim. A shoe impression was located near the 2 shell casings. With some understanding of what had occurred, detectives called for crime scene technicians. In speaking with the two witnesses, detectives confirmed the victim's identity as 33-year-old Johnathan Cherol. One of the witnesses, Joe Ruby, who was with Johnathan when he was shot, said that they were sitting and talking to each other on the back patio. Then, all of a sudden, they heard the sound of a shotgun racking. The two looked around and then back at each other. Joe then heard a loud boom, at which point he saw Johnathan's head snap back. Joe was upset, crying, and demanding that the detectives find the person who did this right away. The other witness, Johnathan's roommate, Roberts Vox, was sleeping in a bedroom at the back of the house, not far from where the shots were fired. Roberts was the one who made the first and rather short 911 call. A gunshot residue test was performed on the two men. While they await the results, both men are brought down to the station for an interview and to provide a written statement. The officers that remained at the scene gathered statements from neighbors. One neighbor said that shortly after the shots were fired, he saw a man walk through his backyard toward the wooded area that led to Master's Way. He said that the man was walking with his shoulders held high and appeared to not be in a hurry. The witness saw the man walk in the direction of what appeared to be illuminated brake lights of a car stopped on Master's Way. He then heard the sound of a car peeling off. With the neighbor's statement in mind, detectives canvassed the neighborhood in search of any surveillance cameras. About 2 houses down, they locate a camera pointing toward Johnathan's house. While officers obtain the footage, investigators are contacted by dispatch regarding a call from Johnathan Cherol's father.
Beaver County Communications, Ken speaking.
Yes, good morning. My name is John Cherol, Cherol. And at 1 o'clock this morning, I received a phone call that my son had been shot in Bluffton. Can anybody confirm that? We've heard nothing from anyone.
Okay. What? Do you know your son's address?
His address would be 39 Pinecrest Road, I think, in Bluffton.
Okay. And what's your son's name?
Johnathan. Johnathan.
Okay. And is his last name?
Cherol.
Okay, sir. I will have an officer give you a phone call, and they'll be able to give you any sort of information that you might need, okay? Keep your line available. Someone will call you from a blocked or restricted number. You're welcome. Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Detectives reach out to John's parents and confirm the horrifying rumors. John's parents were devastated by the news. John's friend and former roommate, Drew Franklin, said that he received a call from John's father. Drew recalled putting his head in his hands and feeling, quote, completely lost. Drew remembers hearing John's parents' voices and how they were not the same jovial and happy as he was used to. Back at the station, investigators speak with Joe Ruby. Before the interview began, Joe's clothing and shoes were collected as evidence. Joe said that John had invited him over, so he stopped by after his shift ended at 11 p.m. Shortly after arriving, John shared a bizarre story with him and Roberts.
John was telling you about, tell me again what you said about this car that showed up at his house.
He told me a story when I got there because he said something really weird happened, something like that. He said, Kim Murphy said he heard a knock or a doorbell rang. He looked through the people and saw a girl there. So he opened the door and she said she had car trouble or something, so she pulled into his driveway. I thought that didn't really make too much sense. So he closed the door, put some clothes on, and went out and looked at her car. He said everything was fine. And he said she tried to make out with him or something. She has to come inside, so he told her to leave. She got in her car and left.
Did he describe the girl to you at all?
He said it was like a girl about his age, I guess decent looking, all he said. We were talking about how it was weird, it's like someone's like trying to chase the house or...
As far as, you say you hear the gun cocking or a slide racking?
Yeah, slide. Sound like a slide.
Okay. And what would you say, it's like a pistol or a shotgun or...
I don't think it was like a shotgun. Probably more like a pistol. Kind of loud though, so...
So, let's say...
It didn't sound like a small 9mm. It was bigger.
Okay. Alright, let's say this is the house real quick. And you got one couch, this is the back door right here. You got one couch here. You got a couch here. Where are you sitting?
That's the door.
This is the back door, and this is the house.
So I was sitting on the end of the couch.
And where was John?
Pretty sure he's kind of sitting in the middle of the couch with his coffee table in front, right in between the two couches.
And you're sitting there, you are talking, and when you hear the gun rack, the slide rack, about what direction is it going?
We kind of both looked over in this direction, towards the golf course and lot. To the right.
Alright. So you hear the slide rack, you look around, about how long are you looking around before the first shot?
Well, we both immediately looked up at each other, gave each other a look like, what was that? That sounds like a gun. So we kind of looked back and forth at each other, and then a few seconds later.
So, how many shots did you hear?
Pretty sure it was 2 shots. I was looking at John, and then it hit him.
So you were looking right at him when alright, and then what did you do?
Well, I still couldn't believe it was gunshots, and I saw the hole in his head, and I kind of got up and I could keep shooting, so I kind of ducked and went over to the door, and I went inside. I was kind of yelling, and I was yelling for Roberts.
What were you yelling at?
So I was just yelling like, holy shit, and I was banging on Roberts' door, and he was yelling, Roberts, there were shots, I think John's dead, or John's hit.
Where's Roberts even?
You open the door, and it's right there.
So you're banging on his door. Did he open the door?
Yeah, pretty much right away, because I think he heard the shots, and he was getting up. Because I think he said he already called 911. I went up to the front where John's room was, because I didn't know if anybody was coming.
So you went into John's room and said, what are you doing to get in there?
I just went in the closet and called 911. I was kind of hiding, because I already saw his head, so I know I couldn't do anything. I don't know if they would keep shooting. And I think I was already on the phone now, and I kind of went back towards the window. I was looking at him, and I could just see him kind of moving and making kind of like heavy breathing sounds, but I figured he didn't know he could have been alive with the way his head was.
Okay, so you said you were smoking weed on the pipe, okay? So there's a pipe right there, so we know you were smoking.
We weren't tonight. We didn't smoke it all tonight.
You smoke it all night?
No.
Alright, so you just keep this pipe sitting out in the back.
I guess so.
I have a reason why I'm asking this, okay? It's not to get you in trouble. I gotta put together different possibilities as to what happened in it, okay? So we can make sure we figure this out. When you do smoke with him, do you normally provide the weed, or is he the one that has it, or is
He had it.
he had it? Do you know where he gets it from?
I don't know.
Do you have any idea at all? Do you have any internal location where he goes to buy, or anything?
I have no idea. I think the only name I've heard before is some guy named Sack or something.
When asked who he believed may have done this, Joe informed detectives about a legal battle John was in regarding a joint business venture combining his restaurant with another. This joint venture was with a woman named Christy. The newly formed combined business went awry as each party accused the other of embezzling money.
John recently, I know that he kind of been in a bad place recently with what happened with, Pacific Cow and all that stuff. I'm not sure what else is going on in his life specifically. Has he given, in the past few days or a week or so, any indication that things had really taken a turn?
He's been, since that happened, I talked to him today, that since then he's been a lot better. He started buying and selling comic books, and he's really excited about it. So he's been a lot happier lately.
Was there anybody that he's had problems with recently?
No, as far as just the sipping Calvin.
And what was like I know that there was
it's like a legal battle
between him and
Roberts and the owners of Pacific Cow.
You know what their names are?
I think there's just one of Christy.
What's the nature of the legal battle?
I'm not sure. I think it's over control the company, and then there's suits back and forth, because I guess she was stealing from the restaurant.
Stealing from,
I guess,
peppers or?
Well, they all merged together, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess she wasn't depositing catering checks, and she wasn't, she switched credit cards to her bank account, and she was paying people on the table.
As the interview wound down, Joe told investigators that John was not currently in a relationship and provided a list of names of who he believed to be John's closest friends. Based on Joe and Robert's matching statements and their negative gunshot residue test results, they are eliminated as suspects. The following day, surveillance footage from John's neighborhood comes in. The footage was pulled from cameras that cover all of the neighborhood's entrances and exits. An additional camera at the community pool area captured the roadway and was directly across from John's house. John's front yard is just out of camera view. On the right side of the frame, a portion of John's mailbox is visible. At around 15 minutes before the shooting, a dark-colored sedan can be seen driving past John's house. The vehicle then continued onto Masters Way as it exited the camera view. Police checked the footage from other cameras around the neighborhood. They followed the car as it completed a full circle of the neighborhood, ending back near John's house. The vehicle stopped before the intersection of Pinecrest Way and Masters Way for about 23 seconds. There was seemingly no reason to stop, as there wasn't any traffic. The vehicle made the same left turn onto Masters Way. The vehicle went out of camera view at approximately the same time the 911 calls were made. After viewing all of the footage from around the time of the murder, investigators scrubbed through the footage from before Joe arrived at the house. They were trying to confirm John's story of the mystery woman with car trouble. At 10:52 p.m., a vehicle can be seen pulling into John's driveway. Detectives immediately noticed that the vehicle was similar to the one circling the neighborhood at the time of the murder. As they continued watching the footage, detectives spotted the motion of a dog running into the street from John's front yard. John can be seen going after the dog. Detectives then see a female who they described as slender with what appeared to be blonde hair. The unidentified woman went after the dog, picked it up, and carried it back to John. To detectives, the interaction looks less like a chance encounter and more like the two knew each other. Investigators continue watching the footage, hoping the mystery woman would reappear. About 50 minutes later, the woman's vehicle goes into reverse and backs out of the driveway. Detectives watch as the vehicle leaves the neighborhood. After following the suspect vehicle through various cameras, detectives were able to get a read on the license plate. The plate read KSW 931, which came back to a 2007 Toyota Camry belonging to Colette Collins of Buck Point Road, Bluffton, South Carolina. When the DMV photo came up, they knew the mystery woman in John's front yard was Colette Collins. While watching the footage of the vehicle, a keenly eyed detective noticed an abnormality among the wheels. The front passenger side wheel had a different amount of spokes than every other wheel. It had 7 spokes while the others had 6. This was a very substantial development because it differentiated the vehicle from other Camrys. As detectives finished looking at the surveillance footage, John Cherol's phone records came back. John was texting at the time he was murdered. He was responding to a text that read, "Shoot his ass, I don't give a anymore." John's response had not yet been sent and read, "Why, what happened?" The number belonged to a man named Joshua. Josh agreed to come to the police department and speak with investigators.
First, I want you to tell me about John. How do you know him? What relationship do you have with him?
I don't know, probably 10 years ago, drinking at the bars. Really into comics. Like that day we were there,
I saw a lot of comics in the house.
He's got a shit ton. He's probably got, I want to say 20 grand in comic books. You know, I told him we'll open up something on eBay. So your bar business failed, so the fuck what? Get over it, grow up. Start a comic book store. You know, you can't just let that one thing bring you down.
When were you with him on the day he died?
Picked him up, went and to the store. We got cigarettes.
You went to the bank first, you went to the store?
The bank first. He got out, got money, went back to the store, got cigarettes. Long story short, went back to his house.
How long were you at the house before you left? You went back to the house, and what did you do again?
Well, I ate some turkey, looked at his comic books, looked up the comic books, watched Guardians of the Galaxy, played Halo 5.
So you were there for a while.
Yeah, I was there for a while, and I was supposed to go back. And I said, I got to get back to my girl and my kid. The girl needs a car to go grocery shopping, blah, blah, blah.
What time did you leave his house that day?
I'm trying to remember. I want to say 5 to 7.
What kind of car do you drive?
I got a Durango. Our other buddy said he talked to him at 12:30. Said, John told him Joe's here. I got to go. I'll call you back. And supposedly at 12:43 or 12:45, the cops were called.
After leaving the house that day, did you ever talk to John again on the phone or anything like that?
I don't think I did talk to him. He didn't sound worried about anything. As a matter of fact, he sounded absolutely like the old John that I used to know.
When you left?
Yeah, when I left. P.O. Box was there. Roberts was there.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing out of the ordinary. He was pissed at the Sydney Cow lady.
Is this something that just started the last?
It started when the lady from the Sydney Cow pulled out. Like, I don't know really what went on. And the day that I was over there, I was talking to Roberts and him. I'm like, you're supposed to be such a badass lawyer, and he's supposed to be so smart. How did this girl come in and nobody covered their ass and everything just fall apart?
Right.
And then when the Christie girl pulled out, that's when the Xanax started hitting really bad. He was prescribed Xanax before that.
How much was he spending?
I couldn't tell you that. I know that.
Do you know who he's getting it from?
I have no idea, but that's why I want to know who killed him. I honestly think he got in over his head with somebody.
As far as drugs, business?
I think money-wise.
Has he ever told you who he was in over his head with?
No. He's mentioned that he couldn't talk. He's like, I can't tell you what I did. I was like, well, I can't help you unless you tell me. John did. He did a lot.
Well, tell us, like...
Did a lot. As in?
He did a lot of Xanax.
You mentioned turf war. Turf war usually occurs when two dealers are fighting over the same area. So what do you mean by that?
Pretty much one person's come in and everybody else. So that one person is everybody else, which is pissing off every other dealer because they can't compete with prices. I have a feeling that John got in with probably the boys on Go, somebody like that. He didn't set up. He told somebody where another dealer was that had a lot of shit. That guy, shit happened with him. You know, I can't tell you what I hear say.
You can tell us what you hear say. Is it usable? No, but it gives us a lead.
You want to help out your friend, right?
Yeah, I would like to help.
You want to find out who killed him?
Did he get hit with a shotgun? Is that true?
Possibly.
Did it happen in the front or in the back of his house?
It happened in the back.
So they walked up on through the doors. Did you guys ever hear of anything that happened down there on like Buck Point Road or Sheriff's?
Police, let us know. What happened on Buck Point?
I mean, nobody ever said any gunshots were fired down there.
At Buck Point, no.
Supposedly the story was that John gave some guys some information about somebody that lived down there. Some of those guys tried to hit somebody. Right. Man had nothing. And I heard shots were fired. I heard shots weren't fired. Or they tried to break into his house. And then...
How long ago was that?
It was a couple weeks ago. And if those guys tried to take out this guy and John was in deep with money, he goes... I heard those guys had shotguns when they went after him. That's why I asked, was he hit with a shotgun? Was it in the back? And they basically drove the guy, from what I was told, insane by running around, like sneaking onto his property.
They got out.
Yeah. I'm friends with him. Yes, I know him. Our kids,
The guy at Buck Point?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Seth. I don't know if that's his real name or not. Well, I heard that he thought he saw somebody fired something, he fired back. John told me whoever the boys were it was personal, now they really killed him because he almost shot him. Heard a door was kicked open, shots were fired. He said they fired. He fired 3 or 4 back. No,
Seth fired back.
That's what I heard. That's what I'm saying now.
And he's got kids in his house?
No, he sent his family away.
Okay.
This is why I was saying, did this really happen? Because how the hell is all these gunshots going off and nobody's calling the cops? I'm thinking, okay, but you just snorted one too many lines. Haven't gone to bed, and because he had me walking his property with him. He was honestly afraid somebody was trying to kill him.
Let me ask you something about Seth. How well do you know Seth?
For a year, maybe. Okay. But he's not somebody that I've known like John. So.
Seth own any guns? Obviously, if you shoot him back, he does.
I think he borrowed a pistol, or he borrowed something. I don't know if he had a rifle on that night.
Is he a hunter? Does he have any shotguns? Does he?
I honestly don't know that. I know he had a pistol. I'm pretty sure he's got a 40 cal. I don't think he does own a shotgun. Anyways, he had told me all that was going on. At the same time, he's telling me that he thinks it's John. That's, John knows something.
So Seth is telling you that
he thinks John knows something.
About what?
About the guys coming over. Because
Okay.
John was at his house, and he said he was being really weird. He was walking around sweating. I was like, dude, I gotta go. Like, he knew.
So John was at the house before he got hit?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. So John disappears, next thing you know, his house gets hit.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't take a genius to put 2 and 2 together and say, probably had some kind of
He knew
involvement.
it was coming. Seth called me. Seth wasn't pissed at him. Seth was like, I just want to know who came to my house. Tell John I don't care about him. I want my house. Okay, so it didn't have anything. And I told John that. I said, he doesn't have anything. Why are these guys trying to hit him? And I was like, he's not an easy mark, he's strapped. So why are you sending guys to his house when he did get shot, so he is crippled?
During this incident?
No, he got shot up at 80.
Okay, crippled doesn't how can he walk? So is he crippled to a wheelchair?
He's got a cane.
He got a cane.
He's been in a cast since last November, and now he's out.
Can he drive?
He can drive, or he walks with a crutch or a cane.
What does he drive?
He's on medication now, like pain meds. He's a shell of his former self.
Does he have a regular job?
Seth, he was a landscaper until, like I said, he got shot.
What about his wife?
His wife works as a waitress.
What's his wife's name?
Colette. The guy that was on Buck Point, did he sell? Yes, he used to sell. He stopped, and everything was getting out of control. Everybody was plotting on everybody. And I sell a bag of weed here and there. He pretty much was like, it's too crazy. This is before society.
As the interview came to an end, Josh provided detectives with contact information for some of John's friends. Detectives then brought Christy, John's business partner, down to the station for an interview. Through that interview and a check of her alibi, detectives were able to eliminate her as a suspect. The following day, detectives went to the address associated with the vehicle captured on camera near John's house. As they approach the residence on Buck Point Road, they spot a vehicle matching the description of the suspect vehicle, a 2007 Toyota Camry. The vehicle had the distinctive 7-spoke front passenger wheel. The residence belonged to Samuel and Colette Collins. Detectives established that the man Josh knew as Seth was Samuel Collins. Investigators knocked on the front door and identified themselves. Colette answered the door and was asked to come down to the station. She was then escorted to an interview room.
You need anything? Water? I guess you got a Pepsi there or something. But
Yeah, it's almost gone.
you like some bottled water or
Diet Coke?
Diet Coke? Give me 1 second. Right back. I'm not sure what they told you when they went out and talked to you just now.
I can assume what it's about. Whenever he said it was happened Tuesday night, that my friend got shot and killed. I was there. I know they're going to come talk to me. I've watched a lot of First 48. I know whoever's the last person that's been seen is always going to be talked to. We saw him last.
Right.
And
We.
Josh
Oh,
and
gotcha,
I. I'm thinking, you know, he was there, but I don't know who else was there, or throughout the day, or what he did, or who he talked to.
So the last time you saw him was that night?
I'm just going to go check up on him. I know he's been suffering with depression and the restaurant closing and everything. And, you know, I've gone through the same types of things with depression and thoughts, actually intense. And so I went over there to check up on him, and he was doing good. He had a peel mask on, and he was in his robe. I guess they called him
Like
at an
a
off
facial?
time, a facial. He had a facial on, and we just sat outside and talked. We just talked.
Did he know you were coming by?
No, he didn't know. He
You
didn't
just
know.
tried to surprise him?
I was on the way home, and I was like, I'm passing his house. I'm just gonna stop by. I don't think we've ever really communicated over the phone. It's just like I'll see him, or he'll come by my house, and we'll hang out, or whatever, whatnot.
How do you know him?
I know him from Peppers. We used to go up there because we're right down the road from Peppers. So we being my husband and I, and so we met him at the back bar and just clicked. Like I can't even forget his birthday because he's like literally 2 months and 9 days off from my birthday, and we were talking about how, you know, same generation, you know, the same stuff, kidding about, you know, different colors, Converse, stuff like that. We really didn't have that close of a relationship. He was just someone that I could talk to.
What about he and your husband? How was their relationship?
They had a good relationship. Yeah, I mean, at first they were better friends than he and I were, and then I don't know if my husband just started to get jealous of him and I, like, you know, he gets jealous, but so I was like, okay, and that's what he doesn't know. I went over there that night. He was at the house, and I'm like, I don't want him to get upset with me for going over there, you know, and
Nothing intimate happened.
nothing intimate happened. We hugged, I think, twice. We never really talked about we flirted, but it never, you know, went too far. That facial was throwing me off. It wasn't very sexy at the time.
That is weird.
The facial.
And he had that on the whole time? He didn't...
The whole time we were
I
talking.
mean, I don't know anything about facials. I don't know if that's a long time to have one on or not.
It was dried. It was ready to come
Was it
off.
like a clay mask or like a peel off?
It was a peel. It was a peel. And he was in this big terry cloth robe. And I was like, ooh, I like this robe, you know, it's soft.
Did you have to like go knock on the door? Or did he just come out when you
I went knock.
went in?
Never went in. We just sat right outside, and my car was parked in the driveway, and we were both leaning up against it.
How long were you there?
It could have been 30 minutes. It could have been an hour.
What all did y'all talk about?
We just talked about, you know, his restaurant, his parents, what he plans on doing next. You know, 'cause we keep telling him, like, just because this one closed doesn't mean another restaurant's going to come open. Because that, you know, was a big... That really hurt his ego, and, you know, got him upset. And I don't like seeing people upset like that. And I knew that he could do it. He was stronger. He's young. He's got so much support. His parents, his friends.
How did he seem? And I ask you this because I know he's been using a little bit more.
Yeah, and that's another thing that brings, you know, causes concern. And so I was like, okay, he's getting his deep. It's like spiraling out of control now. So that's, you know, stopped by. We just talked about that.
Did he happen to mention any issues he was having?
He's been having a lot of issues. That's all I keep hearing is that he owes money to whoever he's getting these pills from. And the habit was like so bad. We're like, that's why I'm worried about you. You can't do that many and still even have a pulse right now.
Right. So you think his habit was excessive?
Very, very excessive. I mean, it would have to be hundreds of dollars a day habit.
Did anybody else stop by while you were there? Anybody else at the house while you were there?
I don't know. I mean, I know his dog was there. He said someone was inside, but I don't know who it was. And then I left, and I went and got 2 bottles of Pinot Noir. And I know this is a bad call of judgment, but I did open that line. My husband hasn't had a drink in over a year as of September 1st, and he doesn't like for me, I don't want to bring it around him, so I kind of rode around and drank on that bottle of wine. And
where did you ride around to?
A little bit of, just kind of stay it close to home, but 46 and the farm area and back through his neighborhood. Like, I think I went back through there maybe one time and then started heading home.
Let me ask you something. Would it surprise you if I told you that there's a rumor out on the street that somebody tried to set your husband up to be robbed?
Would I believe that? I don't believe that.
Did that happen?
I think what happened could have been a setup.
What happened?
The door got kicked in.
When was that?
Yeah, it's been about over a month. My husband's at home, laying in the bed, and then the door kicks in, and they're like, "Freeze, mother!" And 2 shots went, and then my husband dove off of the bed and went into my closet, turned the lights off, closed the door. He didn't have anything to protect himself, so he closed himself off. And I was there, right after they were. The door was wide open. Nothing was touched, which I thought was very strange. So then I go looking around. I found one of their shell casings.
So they were shooting at y'all?
They shot twice, but I don't even know. It was there's something in the ceiling. I don't know if it was just a scare tactic or what, because no problem ever since.
If 2 people or 3 people or 4 people show up at your house to rob you or to do whatever they were going to do, okay, your husband was lucky enough to survive, okay? How do we know these people didn't go to John's house to do the same thing? You see what I'm saying? That's why I'm looking for that information.
Yeah.
Whatever is there, we need to know so that we can look at it and say, okay, are there similarities in this versus this? You're good friends with John, your husband, Josh, all of these guys. I mean, technically, could be susceptible to the same thing.
You're right. I didn't think about those same guys going back over there and doing that. I mean, he owed people money. They could have very well been the same people. But it was word on the street. No one knew who it was, and no one wanted to come up and say they knew anything.
Why would they pick y'all? I mean, it's not like...
From what I hear on that one is that someone went and told them that we were sitting on all kinds of money and this and that. And that's, why I was so confused. I'm like, we don't have any money. Why would you just go off of someone, what they're saying, and not have any proof?
Do you think that John could have been the one that set you guys up?
I don't think so. I think that he would do that.
He owes people money. They want to collect.
Who has the money? You might think we have the money.
I mean, does that make sense to you?
I'm wrapping my head around that. I just didn't think he was in that deep. I really didn't think that. But I guess people will do anything over $20.
So, from what we've been told, your husband found out that John set him up because John was hard up for money. And John thought there was money in the house.
But we never thought John was hard up for money. He always had money.
Well, I'm not saying y'all thought John was hard up for money, but I'm saying that John was hard up for money. And your husband was under the impression John set up the day of y'all's house.
Well,
Because wasn't John over there just a little bit prior to them all coming in?
Yeah, they were all hanging out.
We know that your husband's one of the people that John would buy from, especially if you need a little bit of weed or something like that, and maybe a few pills. So, John believes that y'all have money in the house. He was over at the house that night. We know that he was acting by your husband's orders, acting suspicious that night. He leaves. Shortly after he leaves, the door gets kicked in. I'm talking like maybe 15 minutes, 10 minutes. After he leaves, the door gets kicked in.
Who was that?
And then these guys come in, start shooting. For some reason, they just start shooting. They don't steal anything. They don't wreck the place. What in fact happened was your husband shot back and scared them off. They take off. And besides the fact that your husband can ask around and probably figure it out, he knows that John was there just moments before all this happens. Okay? So John obviously set him up. He confronts John about it. And John, for whatever reason, is completely honest. Like, yeah, man, my bad, basically. Because we have John's phone records and John's texts. He's like, my bad. I apologize. You should probably go after those guys, not after me, because they're the ones that actually did it. I'm just in a bad spot. And then we've got other texts from John where he's talking about what he did. Everything went bad. Now he has no money because the thing that he was trying to do didn't work out.
Get the money from us, is what you're saying, that didn't work out.
He was going to get a cut of it. So we know all that. Okay? And we know that your husband knew. And from the sounds of it, you and your husband talk a lot. Y'all share a lot.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that
your husband has guns too.
I didn't know that he had text messages verifying any of that. I didn't know that. No, or the gun, or this little buying pills here and there. I mean, I didn't know about any of that. I don't know if you. Oh my God.
When we asked if you let your husband could have done this, the normal response to something like that is, oh, no, absolutely, definitely. Your response to that is, that is not it's not something that comes from somebody who's convinced of the whole person's innocence. You said that you were at his house, and then you said you drove back past his house. What time do you think that was when you drove back past his house?
11:30, maybe like 11:45. And I was home and passed out within like minutes once I got home.
Well, there's actually a security camera. So you actually left out of there the second time. The car was there with you in it right before and right at the time that it happened. So what are you not telling us here? Because we know that there is a good bit more. Because there's a lot that that we know that we haven't told you yet, but there's obviously a lot that you know that you haven't told us.
I mean, I'm like rattling my brain at what it could be. I'm not quite sure what I know that I don't know exactly what I know to tell. I mean,
were you by yourself the other night when you were in Congress?
Yes.
The first time. What about the second?
Yes. I never went anywhere else. It was just me. I didn't stop, pick anybody up, nothing. I definitely didn't have anyone in my car. I had my work clothes in there, my purse, shoes. I mean, call anybody. No. Call anybody. If I did, I really can't remember after all the alcohol. I did not know that. It was my car.
No, it's your car.
It's your car. We can see you in it.
Now I feel like this is turning into, do I need to get a lawyer?
I mean, you're not in trouble.
I feel like my words are being twisted around, though.
Colette and the detectives take a 20-minute break. Colette's interview resumes with a detective who has been observing the interview.
There was some evidence found at the scene. There's actually things that were inside the gun. Every time you shoot a gun, things come out. Things get ejected. And we found two of those. Everybody puts a hammer inside guns. I'll just touch it. And then DNA. And I ask you, is there any reason the DNA is going to come back to your husband? Or something that you know. Because I'm telling you, if you were just driving around and somebody was with you, and they just told you to stop, and you didn't know what was going on, you need to let us know now. Okay? Because if you don't, then it makes it look like they're using something to do with this.
Right.
And I don't want you to think that. I don't want you to feel like that. If you had no idea what was going to happen, if you had no idea that this was going to get out of hand, then you need to let us know. Okay? If you're trying to protect somebody, right now you got to take care of yourself. You need to protect yourself.
But really, I mean, I didn't get anybody. I didn't pick up anybody. I didn't do anything with anybody. I mean,
So there was nobody else in your car that night?
No.
Even though our video shows that there was somebody else in the passenger seat?
I mean, I don't know if there was my clothes. I'm not sure who would have
What do you mean
been
your clothes?
my work clothes hanging in there. I mean, that's
No, this was clearly a person with a face. Who was in your car? I'm not saying that they shot anybody, but there was somebody in your car. If you're giving somebody a ride somewhere, you got to listen up. If it's somebody other than your husband, I'm not going to go back and tell your husband, hey, guess what? She has somebody else in the car with her. You know, that's not what I do. Okay? So if you have somebody else in the car, let me know. Who else was in the car with you?
I don't recall anyone being in the car. I really don't. Like, I am rattling my brain as to trying to piece even where I drove, and I can't think of everything. I mean, maybe now is the time for me to go ahead and get my lawyer, because I feel like
I'm asking a simple question.
I'm confused as to what is going on, and I mean, I understand why I'm here, but I don't know why I would be put, like, as a suspect.
Well, because your car was within 10 feet at the same time of a homicide.
Well, you say 10 feet. And
Okay,
then,
well, within 10 yards. 10 yards of his house. Because there's one point when you did drive by, and shortly thereafter is when this happened. Do you think that that's a coincidence?
I mean, yeah, it could be a coincidence.
It could be. You asked for a lawyer, so I can't continue questioning until you get it. Okay? I do appreciate your cooperation. I appreciate you coming down here and taking the time to speak with us.
I'm sorry. I'm overwhelmed, and
Of course, no, I completely understand. You've been in the police department for a long time. You know, you're getting very specific questions. I understand. I don't blame you. I don't judge you. You know, but if there's a point in time,
I would love to have your card. So whenever,
let me see if I have a card.
If there is something that I hear that I can share, I will.
Absolutely.
I will definitely do that.
Colette's husband, Sam Collins, came to the station. However, he did not come until the next morning. Investigators believe that this was so the couple could get their story straight.
How do you know John? What's your relationship with him? You know, I mean, how
just through mutual friends. I just met him through Josh. And at the time, you know, I had just got injured and I was seeking more medicine as well. So when I first hurt this leg over a year ago is when the hospital sent me out with basically no medicine. So I went on the hunt for medicine. And that's how I ended up getting intertwined with these people.
So you mentioned who would you buy the pills from? Same person that John would?
Isaiah Walker.
Did he have any street names or anything like that?
Talk. Yeah, like TikTok, because he takes forever.
That's the same thing Josh said. Your relationship with John. Do you guys ever have any issues?
He did end up asking me for money whenever those sipping cow things started falling off. He said he had some bills going, he wanted to borrow some money. I did loan him some money. And we did have an issue with that, but he actually gave me this watch, which I've been wearing in his honor ever since.
I mean, we're not here to jam you up in any way,
yeah,
but I just need complete honesty from you, okay? Have you ever had anything in your house that you sold to him, such as narcotics or anything like that?
No.
You never sold him any drugs?
No.
Did you ever let him have any drugs that you had in the house before?
What do you mean you're not trying to jam me up? What kind of question? Why do you want to know?
What I'm saying is I'm not going to arrest you for distribution of whatever you gave him. I'm just trying to establish a relationship that you had with him.
Yes, he did come over, and I did give him some medicine from time to time, yes.
Did he pay for that medicine? Or did he give you, like, items like a watch?
Well, I think the reason he gave me this watch is because he knew he wasn't going to have any money, and it was sort of his way of buttering me up.
I got
And then he told me he was going to pay me later, and that was basically how our thing went. Which is like, well, I'll pay you later. You know I'm good for it because I got these stocks and this going on and these comic books, and you know about my watches, so why don't you just give me those and I'll pay you later. So I gave him some and gave him some and gave him some, and then he didn't pay me. That was somewhat our relationship because he knows I get medicine, so I can have it sometimes, and I knew other people, and I knew Isaiah as well. So there was that relationship there because there was some of the time where I did have some of Isaiah's, and then he would come and get them and go to work or whatever.
Now, if he knew...
Actually, I think Isaiah might have been the first person that put me in touch with him, now that I think about it.
If you both knew Isaiah, why would he not go directly to Isaiah and go to you instead?
Convenience.
As far as location or...
Location and...
Or less money or...
Not less money, just less time.
That's obviously why you call him TikTok. Yeah. Right? It takes a lot of time.
But, I mean, I quit doing all that.
Tell me about your relationship with your wife. You guys been married for how long?
14 years.
14 years. Did you guys have like a rocky point somewhere?
Yeah.
What happened with that?
A couple years ago. She just... I don't know, we were having issues, and I think with her it might have been some addiction issues she was having with pills, and I was trying to get her to stop, and she didn't want to stop, so...
She was addicted to pills?
Yeah, from her cancer. And I was just trying to get her to stop, but when she gets in that mind frame, there's no stop, there's F you, because you want me to stop, or you're trying to stop me. And that's the way she was then, because whenever she went through cancer, they gave her so much medicine, it was ridiculous. So then afterwards, I tried to help her to get off of it, and it wasn't very much longer that she ended up taking off. But she ended up going up to Augusta, and I saw in her phone that she'd been talking to another man, and I figured out who it was, and it turns out that it was her stepmother's brother, which is just terrible to me, so... Okay, so we split up for about a year and some change, almost 2 years, and got back together in the middle of it for a little bit, But then, I'm trying to think, she came back in April, not last April, but I believe the April before. So we've been together ever since then. Things have been good.
How was her relationship with John?
I don't know. I mean, I know that he took a liking to her, that I could tell a little bit. They were smoking a cigarette on the porch together one day, and he came in and he goes, "Oh, she's just so nice and so sweet and pretty. You're so lucky." Just that.
And how'd that make you feel?
Good.
Good. Well, yeah. Anytime somebody compliments your girl, you feel good, right?
Yeah.
So you didn't feel he was stepping over the line or anything? It's just that he liked her?
It was a compliment to me.
I gotta ask you, are you aware that she was over at his house the night he was murdered?
She did mention to me when she came home that she stopped by there. Why did she tell you she didn't tell me?
No, I don't know if you knew or not. That's what I'm asking you, if you knew that she was
She told me that she stopped by.
Does she normally stop by his house?
That's what I asked her.
Yeah.
And she said no. She said she just wanted to stop by just because she was concerned about him or whatever.
Now, Tuesday night, where were you?
I was at home. You were at home with my son and
what?
My mother-in-law.
Your mother-in-law was home too. Remember what time she came in that night?
I think it was like 1:30 or so.
1:30? Okay.
Maybe. I mean, she woke me up briefly, but I didn't really...
Do you remember her demeanor?
She was drunk.
She was drunk?
Yes.
Where did she say she was drinking at?
I didn't really ask.
You didn't ask?
I just assumed it was at work, and then, I don't know, at that point in time at night, I just didn't get into it, really. I just kind of went back to bed and figured she'd talk about it the next day.
She didn't tell you why she was late coming home? What time does she normally come home?
Sometimes it is kind of late like that. Okay. But I don't, because she works at Secession, so sometimes the guys will stay out there and drink late. I mean, I did ask her the next day, have you been going over there? I was like, because Josh called me and told me what happened, and then I was like, and then she said, well, I was over there last night, and I was like, why were you over there? Like, what the heck are you doing over there? And that's when she told me. And while I stopped by, because I was concerned, I was like, well, is this something that you've been doing? I was like, 'cause I would like to know.
Right. Do you think that she might have been intimate with him?
I sure hope not.
I mean, because, and not to bring up a sore subject with you, but you remember her behavior when she dealt with your stepmom's son. Did she kind of exhibit the same behaviors over the past couple of weeks with John?
No, I mean, I wasn't suspicious
I mean,
of her.
you know her more than anybody. That's why I'm asking. You
Yeah.
know, if you notice any different in her change in her behavior or anything like
No.
that.
And she can't really have sex that well because of her, the procedures they did when she had cancer. Sex is not really the first thing on her mind.
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, she likes to be treated nice and, you know, for me to be nice to her and kiss on her, you know, and stuff like that, and hugging, but...
Let me ask you something, and our job is not only to develop suspects, it's also to eliminate them, and that's why we're here, and that's why I appreciate you being here. A couple of things that I asked if you would give us consent for is, one, your DNA, and then two, would you give us consent to search your house and your vehicle?
No.
You want to give us consent to search your house and vehicle?
No, that's just...
Okay.
Feels like invasion of my privacy, and there's...
That's fine, that's why we asked for consent. I figured I'd ask, you know, again, that just helps eliminate you more.
Detectives then asked Sam about the attempted robbery of his house.
So they were on my porch, and I looked through by my wife's vanity in her bedroom. I could see through the blinds, and I could see over, and I just saw a guy in a yellow jacket, and then another figure. Couldn't really tell much more because I went back immediately, you know. And then, so whenever I saw that, I figured I'd try to spook them. So then I flipped the lights on in my room and came out in the den and flipped the lights on. So I get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? Like, we're calling 911. Which we didn't. I just heard him bolt, and I could hear him running across the yard. And then I waited a little while, and I saw a car leave from down the road hauling butt.
Did they ever fire any shots at you?
Mm-hmm.
From my understanding, there were some rounds, there were some bullet holes in your trailer.
In my house?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are. There were some that were there when we moved in.
So there were no bullet shots this night? This night that these guys came to the house, they didn't shoot at you?
No.
Okay.
Somebody may think I had a lot going on because that's what I told John. I'm like, I don't know why they think that there's anything to get here because I don't have anything. Like, I don't have any weed anymore. I was like, all I have is my medication. I was like, and I really don't have much money, you know. I mean, we've got our TVs and stuff in there, but that's it. I was like, I don't understand.
Right. It doesn't make sense why somebody...
He said, and then John told me, he said, well, I think somebody's got either some 6-month-old information or they just got the wrong information.
That's what John told you?
Yeah, he said, because for whatever reason, they think that you're a mark for them to try to get.
That night when you were home by yourself, did you, prior to this happening, people being on your back porch, did you have anybody over that night?
John came over that day.
What time was he over there?
He was over there, he came over in the morning at 10 or 11. He left for about an hour. He came back. He basically hung out with me. But he was acting really nervous and stuff, too. Like,
Why do you think he was acting nervous?
I don't know. He was just...
How long was it after he left that these guys supposedly came to your house?
A matter of probably 30 minutes to an hour.
You don't find that out?
A little bit, yeah. And I asked him about it.
Yeah, what'd he say?
He said, well, I went and talked to all the guys that I know and told them that you were my friend and not to go over there. And I said, well, you sure you don't know anything about it? He was like, no, dude, I promise I don't. He said, all I know is the stuff that I heard at the bar. He said, but I'll see what I can find out and see what I hear. I mean, I didn't directly think that immediately, you know, that... Because I don't know why he would do that, because I didn't, you know, because he knew that I didn't have anything, so I didn't see his motive. Other than the fact that he owed me a little bit of money, but you know, that's not enough money for that.
Do you ever recall a conversation you had with him over the phone in which he told you that he set you up, he was the one that set it up?
No. Do y'all have that conversation? Because I'd like to hear it.
No, this is just through hearsay. So
that's Josh. You know what? Josh is the one that told me that. He told me that he sort of admitted it, but he never told me specifically. You know what I mean? John never called me and told me.
Okay, how'd you feel after Josh told you that? You know, about John?
I mean, I wasn't real happy about it, but I also didn't really believe it because it's Josh.
Yeah. So these guys did fire at you or no?
No.
I mean, it's not gonna. The reason why I ask is it's not gonna change anything. We just need to know if somebody's willing to try to kill you, then they may also be trying to kill John.
Yeah, they fired at me. I just don't want y'all messing with me. And
we're not here to mess with you. I already told you that.
Yeah, they came. Yeah, they came through the door and fired at me.
Did you fire? Did you have a gun? And did you fire?
No, I hid in their closet with the lights on.
About how many shots did they fire?
Just two.
You were alone.
I was alone. She showed up right after, and that's when I ended up calling 911 and saying my wife was okay. I just didn't want to. I don't know. I just didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want y'all to just. I don't know.
Was there anything else that we discussed? That you
no, everything else was 100%. It's just that incident.
What prevents these guys from coming back is maybe, you know, you're trying to protect yourself and you happen to find a gun in the house and you shoot back or whatever. I mean, that at least prevents them from coming back. Otherwise, you know, now we're concerned that these guys are going to come back. If they just shot John, now they're going to come back for you because they already shown a proneness for violence. And we don't want that to happen to you or your son or your wife or your family.
Either.
So is there anything part of this?
How would me shooting back change any of that?
Because it's going to scare them off. It's going to scare them off. They're going to know that you're protecting your house, and they're not going to come back. I mean,
well, I probably scared them off.
I would do
the
same
say that. Okay. Let's just say that I scared them off.
Okay, you scared them off. Fair enough.
But I currently have no weapons or anything like that.
Okay. Whose weapon was that you used to scare them off?
I didn't necessarily do that. I scared them off. That's all I want to say.
You can't tell us how you scared them off?
I mean, you pretty much know already, so no, I can't.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. You're the victim of this situation. You're allowed to defend yourself, especially in your house. You ever hear of the castle doctrine?
What does it say? That felons can have firearms? I don't think so.
Well, what it says is that you're allowed to protect your house.
Yeah, I'm aware of that, but I don't have anything else to say without a lawyer.
Okay. All right. I trust that if we have any further questions, or if you hear anything,
I'll definitely let you know.
Detective Odom's going to give you his card. Please, I mean,
definitely.
I know that word on the street spreads quickly.
Yeah.
And if somebody starts bragging about what they did,
I'll definitely let you know. They need to be taken off the street. It would make me feel safer.
Sam's DNA sample was collected and kept as evidence. After the interviews with Sam and Colette, detectives were at a standstill. They knew who their suspects were. They just needed more evidence to keep the investigation going. 4 days later, on November 4th, a Bluffton police officer performed a traffic stop on Sam Collins's vehicle.
How are you, sir? I'm Officer Fayetteville Police Department. You have a driver's license, registration, and insurance, please. The reason I'm stopping you is for two reasons, partner. One, you're doing 40 in a 25 school zone, and the other is you don't have any taillights.
The school zone?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
I'm 10-4.
I don't have any taillights.
You got one brake light. Yeah.
Oh, one brake light?
Yeah.
He does currently have coverage on the 92 Ford Thunderbird.
All right.
Alright, and what was that about a warrant?
He's got 3 active with county.
They want him?
We're going to find out in a minute. You ever heard of him before? Samuel Collins?
Sounds familiar. What's the warrant for?
Breaking into a motor vehicle.
Trespass, burglary, larceny.
They're coming for him. He's taking a ride, one-way trip to the Great Bar Hotel. We're going to handcuff him here in a second. Mr. Collins.
Yeah.
You shut your car for me real quick, bud?
Yeah.
Just hop on that with me real quick.
What? Why?
I'll explain it to you when you step out of the car, okay? Okay.
What's going on?
Like I said before, I'll explain it to you when you step out here. Walk back here? Yeah, walk back here. Get your drink up there real quick. Alright. Do you have anything on your person at all?
No.
Mind if I check you out real quick?
Go ahead.
Alright, put your hands right up here on the car for me, okay?
Why am I being pulled out?
Well, you've got 3 active arrest warrants with Beaufort County.
For what?
Petty larceny, breaking into a motor vehicle, and that's all the ones I know about right now. And there's another reason I'm going to talk to you about here in just a second, okay? Like I knew I could smell weed. Alright, just put your hands right behind your back, okay? Put your palms together, be more comfortable. Go ahead and have a seat, okay? Best you can. Put this shotgun shell back in the car.
What gauge is that?
12.
What kind?
Winchester. Didn't we just have a murder with a shotgun?
Yeah, we did. They recovered 2 casings, I believe, or something like that.
Sam was ultimately charged with simple possession. The arresting officer notified detectives of the shotgun shell found on Sam. Detectives then obtained a search warrant for Sam's vehicle. The shotgun shell and a phone were recovered and entered into evidence. Detectives then secured a warrant for Sam and Colette's home on Buck Point Road. Colette was there during the search. Investigators recalled her being surprised that they were there and disrespectful to them. During the search, they noticed shotgun holes throughout the house, as well as a shooting target above the bed with numerous holes in it. Detectives found something that resembled a shotgun, but upon further inspection, it was determined to be a BB gun that their son used. Ultimately, no weapons were found inside the house. However, they did recover multiple shotgun shells. Frustratingly, the shotgun shells collected did not match the type used in John Cherol's murder. While at the home, detectives seized multiple cell phones. Investigators searched through the phones belonging to Sam and found a rather damning text message. The message was sent to one of Sam's friends and it read, "I hope you don't wake up from this text. Put gun in back of truck. Was gonna wrap it in that camo gloves in there too. Had a late night ride just between us, not crew in morning. Just me. See you soon. Thank you." That was my best interpretation of the text. The message was sent less than 2 hours after John's murder. There was also a follow-up message sent by Sam 2 days later to the same number. That message read, "You haven't seen me, I haven't seen you." Detectives immediately got a search warrant for the number, which allowed them to determine the details of the man Sam was texting. The man was identified as William Cody Brown. Based on the messages between Sam and Cody, a search warrant was obtained for Cody's house. Cody lived in the farm neighborhood, the same neighborhood Colette admitted to driving through on the night of the murder during her drinking and driving escapade. Inside Cody's garage, detectives found camouflage clothing, a camouflage shotgun, 1 fired shotgun shell, and multiple unfired shotgun shells. Those items were seized by Bluffton police investigators. Cody was then brought down to the station for an interview.
He's scared for his life and going to borrow that shit. Okay, but it's, it's my baby. Please don't let nothing happen to it. I wake up the next morning and I got a message for that he put it in the back of my truck. And I was like, didn't it rain last night? And I was like, what the heck is he doing? I go back there and it was it's still loaded and the safety was off of it. So I unloaded it and put it up. It had the cement around. And it hadn't been injected. You still have that smoke around. I think the cement around still.
Cody stated that a couple of weeks ago, Sam Collins asked to borrow his shotgun for protection. Cody let him use his 12-gauge shotgun. The camouflage shotgun is sent for DNA and ballistics testing. While waiting for the results, detectives rewatched the footage from just before the murder, looking for evidence that would place Sam at the crime scene. The suspect vehicle drove past John's house and made a left-hand turn on Master's Way, where it went out of view of the camera. This time, detectives spotted the reddish hue of brake lights. The brake lights were on for a short period of time and reflected off of the wet pavement. With no traffic on the road at that time of night, it begs the question, why had the car stopped? This was a few minutes before the shooting, and when detectives believe Colette was dropping Sam off to confront John. Investigators fast forward to just before the shooting. The same vehicle drove up to the intersection, passing John's house, and proceeded on Master's Way. Just after exiting the frame, the reflection of the brake lights can be seen again. This is when investigators believe Colette picked up Sam after the murder. Using the location of the shell casings in the backyard and the brake lights, detectives determined how long it would take for someone to walk between the two. They determined that there was enough time for someone to walk through the pine trees to John's backyard, find where the victim was sitting with his friend, pull the trigger a couple of times, and then immediately retreat. On November 12th, DNA results came back on Cody's shotgun. Sam Collins's DNA was found on the magazine cap, the trigger or grip area, and the stock. Sam's DNA was also found on the camo clothing the shotgun was wrapped in. The probability of a random unrelated person with the same DNA profile as the one found on the shotgun and clothes was 1 in 2.4 sextillion. On November 23rd, the ballistics from the shotgun came back. The shotgun recovered from Cody's garage matched the spent rounds found in John's backyard. Based on the ballistics and DNA results, arrest warrants were obtained for Sam and Colette Collins for the murder of John Cherol. An additional arrest warrant was obtained for Sam for possession of a weapon during a violent crime. Officers, along with a detective, went to the home on Buck Point Road to serve the arrest warrant on Colette Collins. Colette was arrested on her front porch without incident. While being placed in the patrol vehicle, Colette stated that she wanted to speak with the detective without an attorney present when she arrived at the station. A different detective met with John's family and advised them of the arrest of those responsible for the murder of their son. Detectives escorted Colette into an interview room.
After I left John's, I went home, and we got into a fight, Sam and I.
What was the fight about?
I don't even remember everything. He was mad that I went to John.
So this was before or after Parker's?
This was after Parker's. I went to Parker's, and I went home with the wine, and he was upset with me because I had already gone to John, and I had never talked to John without Sam around. So he automatically thought something was up when there wasn't anything, but I was just concerned. I was truly concerned for John. And I didn't know any of this had happened until I saw it in the news. And I just knew, I didn't know what to do. I was scared. And so I go to leave, and he grabs me, and you're not going anywhere without me, and, chases me down, gets in the car, and then at that point,
So you actually got in the car and were pulling away?
Yes. Okay. And at that point, I didn't want to take the fight back to the house because of Chase being there and everything, and we rode around talking.
Where did the argument happen at that point?
A lot of it was outside on the front porch. And he was getting really loud, and, I couldn't control him, so I just was like, I'm out of here. And he ended up getting in the car, chased me down, got to the car. We didn't go too far. And then I was like, okay, I gotta get some sleep. I've gotta be at work at 8 in the morning. I don't need this shit. Nothing's going on. Nothing, you have nothing to worry about with Johns or anyone. And, I did step out in our marriage before, and so that's always, I still would get that flack from him constantly. I didn't know whenever he got the gun what was going to happen, and I know that we went back to the house, and he had been carrying that gun since Cody gave it to him for protection from the door getting kicked in. And, you know, he was constantly paranoid about someone coming back, and so he had that gun, and then he was like, well, let's go talk to John. I want to confront him about you. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And we rode around, and you could, and I'm like, I don't know what to do at this point. I don't know what to do. And we ended up getting into more of a fight, and I threw my hands up and told him to get the fuck out of my car. And I left. And then he called me and said, I need you to come get me. And I had no idea what happened, what was going on. He just kept saying, let's go. Come on, let's go. Where are you? And, I'm like, what the fuck did you do? Did you talk to John? What did he say? I was like, did you hear what he had to say? Because I know that him and I had nothing going on. And he wouldn't say anything to me. Went home. I slept on the couch, and he slept in the bed. I got up and went to work the next day, not knowing what transpired. Then whenever he called me to come pick him up, he was on Masters. That Masters.
Right there next to Pinecrest.
And he said, I'm like, what's going on? Have you calmed down? What, and he's just like, fine, like nothing. He didn't want to fight with me anymore. It was, take me here to Cody's house. He threw that thing back there. I was like, well, why are you getting rid of it? That's what you've been having for protection. Why all of a sudden do you not want it anymore? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
And at what point did you realize what happened?
After work, the next day. I saw it on the news.
Why didn't you come forward at that point?
I was scared. He knew I had figured it out. There were so many times I had your card and I wanted to call you, and I'm scared of him.
Back to when you said you and Sam got in the car and Sam had the gun with him. What kind of gun was that? What did it look like? Camouflage shotgun. Okay. So where did you drop him off so he could go talk to John?
That's what we're trying to, I can't remember exactly where.
Okay.
I thought it was close to his buddy's house in Pine Ridge.
Okay.
I didn't know.
Now, you've been to John's house before. You already told us that.
Yes.
You told us that a couple weeks ago, too.
Yes.
So you know where John's house is?
Yes.
You know how to get there?
Yes.
You know how to get there and get to Cody's house?
Not really, I'd have to be on the road to do it. I'm not too familiar with all that.
So you, as you're going towards John's house, so Sam could confront John, you dropped him off in front of his house? Because you passed by his house?
No. I know it wasn't near John's house.
Detectives asked Colette to write down her account of that night. While doing so, she asked them some questions.
Can you tell me what is going to happen to me?
Yeah. I mean, I'll talk to you about all that. You just gotta get this written down, and then I'll talk about a couple of other things. Okay, I'll answer any questions you need to. Okay.
What is it? I mean,
that's going to depend on a lot of different things. But let's finish this up.
I don't want to get in trouble for something that I didn't do. Can we talk about what's going to happen? I don't want to get in trouble for not coming forward. I know I should have come forward, but what is going to happen? I mean...
Okay, I understand that.
This is not me, like I've never been in any trouble. And he, I've tried to get away from him, and now I'm wrapped up in something that, I just want to move forward from and take care of my son. And, like, go through, like, cancer treatment. I'm scared. I don't know what's going on.
All right, well, here's the thing. I know that I told you what you're charged with. South Carolina, if you assist in a murder but don't actually pull the trigger, you're still charged with murder. That's what
but I didn't assist.
I understand. Let me just explain, because we haven't gotten your side of the story before this, right? So we've been having to, we've been looking at the evidence and doing our own thing here. The thing is, I know you're telling me you want to come clean with us now and tell us everything, but I already know you're not telling me the complete truth.
You asked what's going to happen. Right now, what's going to happen is you're being charged with murder, okay? You're going to jail for murder. This is your opportunity to be upfront and honest about everything with Detective Odom and I. Because here's the thing. We have your statement. I can already tell you that items in that statement are not true, okay? Like your phone calls, your text messages.
I don't remember. I mean, okay. I know you have the records. I don't remember those, like, verbatim.
Okay, and that's fine. You may not remember them verbatim. But the thing is you remember what you did the night with Sam, the night that John was killed.
For instance, you say you stopped at a stop sign, worried with him, told him to get the fuck out. But you're saying you were somewhere near, you dropped him off somewhere near Pine Ridge or something like that, but we have you on security camera, stopped at the stop sign, in Pinecrest, right next to John's house. We have you take a left, and then your brake lights come on, and we can't see who gets out of the car, but we know you dropped somebody off there. And then you go down Master's Way, you take a left on McCracken Circle. Hold on, I'm letting you know what we've got, so you can try to be a little bit more clear about this. You go left on McCracken Circle, you go all the way down, you come back, come in Pinecrest on the back way, which is when we can see your face in the car. Because that security camera on that entrance is angled in such a way that we can see that. You come all the way back around. Now you're driving slowly past John's house with your window down. This is after you've dropped off Sam. And we can see on the camera the 2 shotgun blasts as you're right in front of John's house. Okay, so we know you heard the shotgun blasts.
No.
Then you go and you stop at the stop sign again. You wait for 20-ish seconds, 23 seconds. Just enough time for Sam, who's obviously got a limp, he can't run, to walk back to Master's Way, at which point you turn left, we see your brake lights come on again, you pick him up. We have a witness who saw Sam walking towards Master's Way, and he saw him get into a car. It turns out there were no other cars at that time, because we have the security camera, so we know there were no other cars. Saw him get into the car, and saw you peel out and go away. So you were right in front of John's house when the shotgun went. So we know you heard it.
I didn't know that was what was going on. I swear to God.
So when you
I'm
heard the
trying
gunshots,
to
what did you think
remember everything that happened in the roads, and I can't remember.
Let's forget about that. When you heard the shotgun.
I don't remember hearing shotguns.
So when Sam got out of your car in front of near John's house with a shotgun, and then got back into your car with a shotgun, and you heard those shots, what did you think happened?
I didn't know what happened. I don't remember hearing shotguns. I really don't remember hearing anything like that.
Okay, so what did Sam tell you happened when he got back in your car from John's house with that shotgun in his hand?
He didn't tell me anything happened. He wouldn't tell me details on anything. It wasn't until after I went to work and came home and then saw him again that shit started coming out.
If you were taking Sam over there to talk to John, that's the plan, for him to talk to John, and for whatever reason you think it's okay, he's got a shotgun to go talk to John, why did you think that Sam went behind the houses? Instead of going up to John's front door and going to talk to him, which is the way if you're going to talk to somebody, you go to the front door, Sam goes behind the houses.
I don't remember seeing him go behind the houses.
And that's where you picked him up from, too. We know you stopped at that stop sign and waited till you could see him come out from behind the houses and then turn left on Master's Way.
I don't remember seeing him go behind the houses.
Colette.
I swear to God, I am being honest here. I don't want to go.
I'm going to stop you, okay? And the reason I'm going to stop you is because this is your opportunity. Again, I'm going to say, this is your opportunity to do the right thing. Okay? What happened, happened. But this is your chance to do the right thing. Because today, I had to look a mother in the face and tell her that her son was killed. She already knew that. And we had to tell her that again. So I want you to stop and think as a mother how you would feel if that happened to Sam or happened to your son Chase. Wouldn't you want the person sitting in this room right now to tell the truth? So stop lying to me. Stop lying to Detective Odom. Because here's the thing. You're going to jail. And what you do in this room will determine how things go. I can't tell you that I'm going to get you out of a murder charge. We can't do that. We're not prosecutors. We're not attorneys. But the truth in this room goes a long way. So I want you to stop and think about your son. Because that's what John was to somebody else. He was a son.
So let's go over this again. You go to your house. You told Sam that you went to see John. So Sam's angry. What specifically is he saying? Now that he's found that you went over to John's house, this guy that he is certain is responsible for y'all's door getting kicked in and Sam almost getting killed. Sam's certain that John did that. Sam told us that in the first interview, that he knew John was responsible for that. So Sam finds out you just went to John's house. Sam's a jealous guy anyway, and this is the guy that almost got Sam killed, and potentially the rest of your family if y'all had been home. So what did Sam say when you tell me you went to John's house?
He accused me of, sleeping with John, and I told him no, and he even went as far as to check my underwear to see what they looked like, and check to see if I had shaved my legs or that down there.
What did he say specifically about John? I mean, is he, knowing Sam, he's obviously going to be ranting about...
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think. I don't remember the specifics, it was just, why did you go over there? Why would you do that to me? You're making me look like a fool for talking to him without me there.
What about after y'all go back home, and then he gets riled up again, and he grabs his shotgun? At that point, what's he saying?
I'm going to go confront him about y'all. I'm going to go confront him about the door and who did it. And he was thinking that he was going to find out who kicked in our door by threatening John with the gun. I don't think he intended...
Let me tell you about that. Because what happened when he got there, he didn't say one word to John. Because there was a witness out on the porch right next to John. Your husband didn't say word one. They didn't even see him. All they heard was a shotgun rack and then 2 shotgun blasts. And John didn't even hear the blast because the first one hit him in the face. All right? So the guy sitting next to him had brains all over his shirt. All right?
So, Colette, I want you to think again. I want you to think real hard. Okay? You take Sam over to that house with a shotgun, knowing he's going to confront John. You drove around the block. You come back and you're in front of the house. 2, not 1, but 2 shotgun blasts go off. And then your husband gets back in your car.
Tells you he's got to go drop the shotgun off of somebody.
At Cody's house.
I thought that I didn't know that he did that. I didn't know that he did that. I thought that he just did it to scare him.
Did what to scare him?
Shoot the gun. That's what he told me.
When did he tell you that?
When he got in the car. Whenever I was questioned, because I heard it and I was freaking out, and he didn't want to tell me, I guess, what happened, and I thought that he was going over there to confront him and scare him and find out who did it, because he then was talking about going after them, and that's why he wanted to take the gun. Oh my God. Oh my God.
So when you dropped him off, was the plan for you to circle back around and he'd wait till he saw you, and then he'd scare him, and then he'd come on back out?
Yeah.
So that's why you drove slowly past so he'd see that was you. Fire the shotgun, scare him, get whatever information you needed to get.
Yeah.
When did Sam tell you he killed him?
Like, after, oh gosh, it was the next day,
like the evening.
So a day goes by, and Sam tells you that he killed John.
I saw what happened on the news.
Okay.
And that he was dead.
Okay.
And I started freaking out.
Okay.
And questioning him
Okay.
if he did.
So you started questioning Sam about it, and what did Sam say?
He said, you better not tell anybody anything.
Sam's reason for this was that it was revenge for the hit on y'all's house. Did Sam say that was his purpose when he went over there? He went there to kill him?
No.
What was the conversation in the car on the way to John's house?
We were still arguing about if I had sex with John, if I'd ever talked to him before on the phone or texted him, and I hadn't. And then, we were like almost there, and I was wanting to turn around because I don't like this. And he was slamming my head up against the window so hard. It was ringing in my ear. It was so hard.
So he tells you...
He says, well, let's just go over there so I can confront him and threaten him, intimidation with this gun. And I said, I didn't even know he had bullets for the thing. I thought it was going to be an intimidation factor. And he didn't want me to go in because he didn't want me in the middle of the gun. And if John had his pistol, and if the roommate had his pistol, and...
Well, I'm going to stop you, okay? And the reason I'm going to stop you is, my question is, if you knew he was only going over there to scare him, why'd you drop him off in the wood line?
That was when he didn't want me to be seen. I don't know. He said, I just want to show up over here and scare him.
So, I guess what I'm getting at then is, so when you're driving, is Sam telling you go here, or he tells you go to John's house?
He was telling me which way he wanted me to go.
How did he know that John was on the back porch?
I don't know. I don't know.
When you dropped Sam off on the back road behind John's house, how did Sam know that he was going to be on the back porch?
I don't think he knew that he was going to be on the back porch. I think he was going to scare him, and he happened to be on the back porch smoking.
So if Sam shows up, he gets back there, and John's not on the back porch, what's Sam's move going to be?
Knock on the back door.
Knock on the back door?
Or go in the back. I don't know. Whenever we got to Cody's, he told me to stop and let him out. He got out, and I couldn't tell what he was doing, and then I knew he threw something in the back of Cody's truck and told me to turn around and pick him up. I want to give you the truth. I don't want...
Well, that's what
I want justice for John. And I want it to be right.
So the night that y'all's door got kicked in, you would play a lot of Sam's guns in that shed? Is that what you're talking about? That building? And John knew about that?
Yeah. Sam was going off on a bender, drinking and drugs, and had been acting all kinds of crazy. And there happened to be one still in the house. And Sam found it, and then that's how all of the rest of it transpired. It kicked in the door. He said he heard mother and freeze, and he was in the bedroom. They came around, he shot. No one else was there. I come there literally 5 minutes after it happened. Doors wide open, dogs are gone. So he John was the last person that was there that day, and he saw me walk those guns up.
Alright. Just about everything. I'm going to stick you back in the cell real quick. We're going to finish up some paperwork we got to do here, and then we'll transport you. Okay?
Detectives transported Colette to the Beaufort County Detention Center. With Sam already at the center because of his drug possession charge, detectives served him both warrants and then explained all of the evidence they currently had. Sam was read his rights and initially advised that he would speak with detectives, but shortly after the interview began, Sam requested to speak to an attorney. At trial, the prosecution laid out the following sequence of events to the jury. Colette Collins knew that John Cherol was having some problems with his restaurant business, so she went over to his house to see how he was doing. She spent roughly 50 minutes with John in the front yard. After that, she stopped at a gas station to pick up some wine and proceeded to drink the wine over the next hour. She eventually returned home, which is where Sam Collins found her, drunk. He asked her where she had been, and she told him she was at John's house. Having previously been cheated on by Colette, Sam believed that she was at it again. Sam became enraged, even more so because she was with the man he believed orchestrated the attempted robbery of his house. Sam then demanded that they go and confront John. Sam brought with him his friend Cody's shotgun. Colette drove Sam to John's neighborhood and dropped him off on Master's Way, where, unseen by cameras, he was able to slip around the back of Johnathan's house and shoot him. He then retreated through the trees to where Colette picked him up. They then dropped off the shotgun in the bed of Cody's truck and headed home. At his trial, Samuel Collins is found guilty of murder and possession of a weapon during a violent crime. He is sentenced to 50 years. Colette maintained her now third story of dropping off Sam and believing he was there strictly to confront John, not to kill him. Without any evidence to the contrary, Colette's charges are eventually reduced to accessory after the fact. After hearing Colette's statements about not knowing about the murder until she saw it in the news, Sam agreed to testify against her. He claimed that he had told her that he shot John right when he got back in the vehicle. Colette then assisted him in disposing of the shotgun. With the help of Sam's testimony, Colette Collins is convicted of accessory after the fact and is sentenced to 15 years. No one else was found to be involved in John's murder. John's friend, Drew Franklin, said that he is angry that John was cheated out of life and that his family had to go through this. Drew said that he would like John to be remembered as the funny guy who brought people together. He said that John had a bright future that was unfairly cut short. Remember to check out Exter with the link in the description or the pinned comment. For more videos of cases never before seen on YouTube, click one of the videos on screen now or the links in the pinned comment. Goodbye for now.